Hey, and welcome to the channel for another web dev video. Today I want to talk about if you are too old to code. Are you too old to learn how to code? It's something I see on YouTube and in some forums, places like that. People are generally kind of wondering, are you too old to code? It's a question that I had. I don't feel like I'm that old. I'm 35. I learned to code when I was 35 and got a junior web job at 35. My background, I've been trying to learn to code since I was about 31, and it took me a while to do it, and I ended up doing a boot camp in order to get there. But in that process, several times I wondered, man, am I too old? Is this a right career move for me? Do I want to do this? And ultimately, yes. And the reason is because I really like it. I really enjoy it. I feel like I finally found my passion. And when you find, you've heard that, if you find your passion, that's the thing that you should be trying to do as a career or something peripherally close related to it, stuff like that. So for me, yeah, it was definitely worth learning to code and go through that struggle in my early to mid 30s, even while I had, two kids. I had two small kids, still have two small kids. Uh, but it was tough. They were really small when I was doing it. I had a newborn at one point when in the boot camp, and I had a toddler. So that was really, really hard. Hopefully, if you are wondering if you are too old to learn to code, hopefully, if you have kids that are a little bit older, because if you have kids, you know how hard it is when they're really small, a lot of attention, a lot of sleepless nights, and stuff like that. But what I wanted to say, or at least have you ask yourself, if you're wondering if you're too old to learn how to code, what are you trying to do? What are your goals? Are you trying to change careers? Or are you trying to use it peripherally in your career or add it as a skill set to your current role? If you're trying to change careers, it's not an easy career to get into. It's really hard to learn to code in any language, and then it's really hard to get to the next level, to get out of kind of now I can make a little tiny hello world application or something like that. It's really hard to get to the production level of stuff, and it's not easy to get hired full time in any company, large, medium, or small. And it's not hard to, or it is hard to work for yourself, and try to go that route and be contract and pick up contracts and maybe make websites for people and stuff like that. And that's kind of an older business model anyways. I don't see a lot of people out there doing stuff like that. But you can do it. Yeah, you can absolutely do it. But what I want to say is, if you're trying to add it as a skill set, absolutely. Maybe you need to learn SQL for your job, or maybe that's the next level. Go for it. Absolutely. Are you trying to go from marketing into full-on developer? That's kind of something I did. Actually, I was more project management. But if you're trying to do like I did, go from project management into a full-on developer, that's a lot harder. There's a lot of skills that transfer over to them, but if you completely want that career change, you really have to ask yourself, is that the career that you want? Because I wouldn't want anybody to struggle and really pour themselves into something for a year and just not be able to not get there, or realize that, hey, maybe this isn't something I wanted to do. If you're wanting to switch careers, think about if you're prepared to be in a very junior role. You're going to have to ask a lot of questions to people that are younger to you. Maybe you're not used to that. If you're, I know some people, they want to switch careers and they want to go, from maybe warehouse work or construction work, or, driving truck or something like that. Are you okay at whatever age you are, 30, 40, 50? I don't think a lot of people are trying to learn to code and switch careers at 60, but are you prepared to have somebody that's in their 20s be your boss, or be your team lead, be your principal engineer? You're going to have to report to them, ask them a ton of questions. It's not like you can learn to code, and after you've learned to code, then you know how to Google, and then from there you don't have to ask any questions anymore. You get to just go, oh, I can just figure it out on my own. You're going to be asking questions constantly. I don't understand how to do this. What did I do to my GitHub account? My Git's broken. My app's broken. I don't understand how these functions work. You're going to ask a ton of questions and work really closely. So if you don't want to have somebody that junior be your boss, remember, they probably been coding if they're going to be your boss in your 20s, and that happens all the time, they've probably been coding for 10 years and they're probably really good at it. If you're not okay with that, then that's something that you either need to become okay with or think about really hard. And it's also, something to remember. It's not easy to get one of these positions, and it's not an easy position to have. You have to really enjoy doing it because there's a lot of struggle. There's a lot of frustration. Depending on your job, there can be a lot of pressure to get things done at a certain time. You'll notice that a lot of people that are full-time web devs or developers in general build stuff on the side. That's not required. Not everybody does that. And I think that that's cyclical in everyone's career, but that definitely helps you get ahead and it helps you get to that next level. So if you're just in it for the money, it's not some place that you're going to want to be, because you're not just going to walk into 100K because you learned how to code at a boot camp and now you're on Easy Street. It doesn't work like that. You're gonna, if you could get to that level without the passion, I can't imagine you're gonna want to stay there for very long, because you're not gonna have a good time. You're not gonna enjoy it. And then the other thing to think about is if you want to do that career switch, some junior positions pay really well. A lot do not. There's a company called, I think it's Reviture, and they scoop people up out of boot camps all the time. And it's a pretty popular option, but I want to say as of 2019 was last year, and this is the last number that I saw for somebody, but they're basically paying like $15 an hour for a really junior position, and that's some sort of strange contract job where they have you locked in for 2 years or something. I don't know enough about it, but that doesn't seem like the best deal for everyone. Seems like an easy route to go if you want to get that junior dev job right away, but that's not an easy route to go in when it comes to living and surviving. And they might pay more like $20 an hour. I'm not really sure. And maybe that sounds okay to you, maybe that doesn't. But if you're in your 40s and trying to support a family, then that's tough. Anybody that's in their 40s knows how hard it is to support a family anyways. So, the positions that do pay well, yeah, they're out there. They're not easy to get. They're going to have to really like you. You might have to do some negotiation. But it is possible. So, to think about, are you too old to code? You got to think about, is this something you really want to do? And then are you prepared to go through that struggle and start all over? And it really takes a lot of humility to do it, especially when you're older. I feel like I'm a pretty humble guy, but I get humbled all the time. Some days I'm like, oh, this is great. I'm doing really well in my my side project or my job or whatever I might be working on. And some days I walk into something and go, whoa, I don't know what I'm doing. Like if I had only started this 10 years ago, right? Everybody always thinks about that. If I'd only learned to play guitar 10 years ago, if I'd only learned programming 10 years ago, I don't know where I'd be now. But if you really have the passion for it, then you can definitely do it. Anyway, if you like this type of content, give me a subscribe. Otherwise, I'll see you next time.